Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Catch made. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
We've got a lot to cover today. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens will be with us. We missed the intro with the whiteboard hand. Back, start over. Wait. We've got a lot to cover today. Sports. Thank you to Alex Stimson. He's here, the entire Quack Video crew, putting together some great interviews for you. We got a lot to go over. Head coach Dan Lanning, his press conference last night, will lead us off. We also have Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens with us, and Matt Ulmer will be here. Matt Ulmer will, I'm sure, have lots of good things to say about the record-setting crowd this weekend. Shout out to Oregon Volleyball, over 7,000 in attendance. Awesome on Friday night. Got a win at UCLA as well. Talk a little Duck Volleyball. And what else do we have for you today? That's all I got. Yep, that's going to be the show right there. Oregon, Stanford, 3:30 kickoff, 1:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network if you're listening to the hometown radio call. I think this is going to be an interesting test for a lot of reasons. One, you're coming off a big-time game, that big win over Colorado. We'll hear Coach Lanning review it in a little bit. But also, in the last 10, 15, 20 years, who has spoiled Oregon's fun and conference championships more than the Stanford Cardinal? It's been the Stanford Cardinal. Still kind of a rivalry, I feel like. I think it's going to be a test for the Ducks for that reason. Going on the road, got to bring your own energy. Like we talk about, Oregon versus Oregon, Ducks versus them. Coach Lanning, his Monday press conference last night, talked about a number of topics. And here's the Oregon head coach, Dan Lanning, brought to you by the William Valley Cancer Institute Research Center. Fight like a Duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Coach Lanning.
Great game on Saturday. Was certainly a lot of fun for our players and our team. It's always a blast to see the fans so active, making such an impact on our game. It was our most complete game that we've played to date. I think it showed what we're capable of. I think we were really solid in all three phases, but we still walked away with a lot of things that we can certainly fix. I know I say that every single week, but it's always true. Our players had a great practice today, this Monday, and they went and started attacking things that they can fix.
So there's been a lot of talk nationally about your pregame speech and your aggressive play calling. I think Skip Bayless called it venomous vengeance. Just curious what your thoughts are on that and kind of how your words have been skewed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Skip at all. I've never had a conversation with him. I've watched him enough to know how often he gets it wrong. So, I mean, that sounds about right. But, I mean, ultimately, here's what I say. We're playing to win the game, right? And you saw a 15-second clip from a window view outside the house of what happens in the locker room, right? I know our locker room. I'm in the house 100% of the time. I know how our players felt going into that game. And I know what it takes to motivate our players. That's my job, to motivate our players, right? He has a job. I have a job too, to get out there and to perform on the field. But inside that house, they felt a certain way. They felt a certain way about a group stomping on the O. They felt a certain way about guys talking to them in the pregame. And I'm proud of those guys because what they decided to do is talk with their pads, right? They didn't want to do anything extra afterwards. They wanted to talk with their pads, and they did that on Saturday. I'm also grateful and can clearly acknowledge that the attention that we got this Saturday, in large part, was due to Dion and what he's doing to college football. And if anybody can't see what he's done for college football and how he's bringing excitement to college football, you're crazy, right? And I said that last week as well. He's done a lot for the game. He's building something over there. I think that's really, really clear. There's no secret there, but it wouldn't matter if I was playing my 10-year-old son on the other sideline. I'm going to do everything I can to win. If I'm playing Bill Belichick, I'm going to do everything I can to win. Did I go for it on fourth down? Yeah, I have every game this year. Right, I've gone for it 9 times. Did I go for a 2-point conversion? Yeah, I've done it 3 out of the 4 games this year. And if we play again tomorrow, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do everything I can to win a game and everything I can to motivate my team. So, that to me is classless. What he's saying there, but I'm not really worried about it.
Kind of to that point, transitioning from a lot of stuff going on the periphery to this week, how have you seen the team transition and I guess early look at Stanford?
Yeah, well, to that point, I'm going to talk about Stanford and Oregon from here on out. So what do I see? I mean, I see last time we played on the road, we didn't perform the way we want to. So it's an opportunity for us to go put a complete game together on the road. And just like I said after the game, you can't let your highs get too high and your lows get too low. Sometimes after an emotional win, where there's a lot of passion and energy in it, you can have a letdown. When we're certainly not looking to do that. We're looking to go out and perform again to our absolute best. Our guys, like I said, have the right mindset. They came in energized this morning, ready to work, ready to attack, anxious to watch film, and we're going to build off of what we've been building all season.
You called this your guys' most complete performance to date. On the defensive side, what did you like the most? Like, what were you most impressed with after watching the film?
Like I said, I thought our coaches showed really good patience, right, of when to take advantage of opportunities, when to take risks. But on the same note, we were able to get a lot of things done with just rushing coverage and not feel like we had to throw everything at them to have success. We felt like we had an identity of who they were and what they had to do to be successful, and we felt like we took away their strength, right? We wanted to be able to get at their quarterback. Our defensive line did that, and we covered well on the back end, which allows you to get a good rush up front. So was proud of that.
Kind of touched on it there, but Stanford, they don't lead the conference in attendance. The atmosphere is probably going to be a little bit different than the last away game you guys were at. Just how important is it to bring your own juice to get a hot start in this game, to get the momentum going?
Yeah, you said it, right? I mean, this is a bring your own juice game, right? It's going to be a different atmosphere, but if you step on the grass and it means something to you, right, you're going to step on there and try to perform to a certain level because you have pride, in the game.
Just from a player-coach standpoint, how unique is the relationship that you have with Bo Nix?
I can't speak necessarily to it from a perspective of other coaches or what that looks like, but I love Bo. I love every player on our team. And Bo's done everything he possibly can to be a great teammate and a great player for Oregon. And he shows that every single day in the way he approaches everything that he does. So I'm always going to appreciate somebody that works as hard as he works, does what he has to do for our team to be successful and win, and operates the way he does each day.
If Mace is unnecessary roughness because it's just after the whistle, though the quarterback was still up, the play was blown dead, what's your perspective on the 2 hits on Noah and Bucky when it appeared they were both down and after the whistle? And have you asked Merton Hanks for clarification as to why they weren't called?
Yeah, we send penalties in every week that we agree or disagree with, and I'm still waiting on feedback to see exactly what their perspective was. I watch the Mace clip a lot because you hate it because you see a team playing aggressive, and like I've said before, sometimes you're going to have aggressive penalties, but that one hurt because we're going to be off the field on 3rd down again, and he has to have the awareness to stop. Right, and I don't know exactly when the whistle was blown in comparison to when the hit was finished. That's obvious that we had a sack already locked up. So I'm going to challenge Mace to slow down. Now on them not calling those other calls, I want to protect our players. I want to make sure we keep the game safe. They've been sent in. We'll see what they say.
For the past couple of decades, this has turned into a really rich rivalry between Oregon and Stanford. There's been a lot of upsets. Notably in 2021, Oregon was number 3 and went down there and lost. How much do you make of that with your team? How much do you make that be known that, they can't get complacent going into this game?
Yeah, it's no secret, and our guys know that, right? I mean, you certainly pointed out there's a lot of pieces that can feed into distractions and not playing to your best, right? And like I said, all you have to do is point to this season. When we went down to Texas Tech, we didn't feel like we performed our best. So we're going on a road, and it's an opportunity for us to prove that we can.
kind of swap between two different quarterbacks, maybe the challenges that presents, and maybe if there are tendencies if one's in and one's not in, kind of thing?
That both the guys that they have in there operate, a similar system. They both have the ability to run. One of their strengths is their quarterback run game. That's something that's hurt us at times this year, so we're going to get tested on that. But they both can operate the system. They're both athletic guys. Both do a really good job.
Yeah, following up on that, what stands out about what they do with their tight end, Jurosik? I hope I said that right.
Yeah, no, he's the catalyst for them on offense. They move him around in a lot of different places. He's a dynamic threat catching the ball. He's also a physical player in the run game. He's somebody that we're going to have circled every single play, figure out where he's at, because they use him and they do a good job utilizing him in a variety of ways.
Teams are always associated with certain styles or traits. Stanford's always been known to be good on defense. Just what do you see on film with this group?
Yeah, so I know their defensive coordinator relatively well. Bobby April is a guy that I've bounced ideas off of, and we've talked ball several times in his time back to Wisconsin. I certainly respect him a ton. He's done a good job, but what they do is they play sound defense, and they play sound defense, but they bring a lot of different pictures, right? They run a lot of different sim pressures. They do a variety of 3-deep zone and quarters. And even man. So you're going to see a lot of different things from them. I think they do a good job there. And I know it's early for them, but they're getting better and better each week on that side of the ball.
For as much attention as gets paid to the quarterbacks and receivers in this league, and rightfully so, you're one of the few teams that might have an answer and a counter to that. How do you put a value or quantify the importance of what Kyrie is doing for you, not just this past week, but what he'll mean to you when you're playing the top 3 passing offenses in the country this season?
Yeah, we've challenged him every single week, and he keeps stepping up to the challenge. I'm really proud of Kyrie and the way that he's played. He hasn't let the moment get too big. I think we're all seeing what Kyrie's capable of, and we're going to continue to challenge him, and he's going to continue to make us better with the way he's performing on Saturdays.
But on Saturday, you expect to be without Noah for a few weeks, at least, without getting into his injury. What's the mindset like with the other 2, 3, 4 backs in the locker room that you can kind of shoulder that load for him?
Well, first they hurt for Noah because they know, this guy is a guy that steps on the field every single day, and he works his tail off. He might not say a word. I mean, he's a guy that, when you talk about guys that talk with their pads, that's Noah, and he's tough. This guy's from Peach County. And anybody that hasn't been there wouldn't know, but if you've been there, you'd realize what that means. So those guys hurt for him, but they also know, okay, next guy up. How am I going to take advantage of those opportunities and make sure I don't let our team down in his absence? And we're going to miss Noah. You don't just replace Noah with another player, and especially his demeanor and his work ethic. But we've got some great backs in that room that are ready to fill those shoes.
To follow up to that, I guess, is can you get by with just using Jordan and Bucky, or do you kind of need a third guy to step up there maybe?
It takes what it takes, right? We're going to play as many guys that can play winning football for us and play at a high level. And we're fortunate. We're one of the teams in the league that are fortunate to have great backs. So I'm really pleased with the guys that we have in that room. I know we can get it done with the guys in that room. We'll see how people's role grow in the next few weeks as we adapt and adjust based on that.
Would the Troy Franklin you inherited in the winter/spring of 2022 be capable of doing what he's doing right now? Would he have made the second touchdown? Would he have executed the second touchdown route to the way that he was able to, and how far has he progressed from the player that you inherited nearly 2 years ago?
Capable, absolutely, right? What Troy's doing right now is tapping into the talent that he's always had, but I'm really pleased with his desire to continue to grow and get better each and every week. I tell you guys this each week, but if they do it in practice, they're going to do it in a game. Well, Troy does that in practice, right? He does it frequently in practice, and he's having a great season. But again, what I love about Troy the most is he could care less, right? He just wants to go out there and compete for his team. You see a guy go block, right, the way Troy blocks, right? That's something that sticks out to you. So that's the things that I continue to look for.
What stopped the 2-point conversion this time from working?
They in reality, it wasn't covered right. So there was a guy in the zone. I think they were playing man. I'm not sure exactly what they were playing, but they kind of fell into place, and we never gave our guys that look, right? The look was there, pre-snap, and then, the guy that did come open was the 7 cut in the back of the end zone, and we weren't able to deliver it because we had pressure in the face. So they kind of fell a little bit into it, and then they applied pressure and got us before the ball got off.
On the one true sack allowed, is Josh supposed to be able to get out as far to look like a wide 9, or does some other adjustment have to be made to try to avoid that?
Yeah, combination, right? Yeah, there's certainly his responsibility on that play, but we feel like schematically we can do a better job of enhancing that and making that better. So that's something, that's something that was in our doctor's report on Monday, and something that we're going to continue to work on and fix.
Duck football head coach Dan Lanning, his weekly press conference last night. Shout out Alex Stimpson. He got the recording. He streamed it for you last night, and he's the reason we have it on Duck Insider today. Brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. That's Dan Lanning, Duck football head coach. And next, Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. More sports. Duck Athletic Director Rob Mullens, also Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer, coming up on today's show. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider. We're in the Country Financial Studio. Joey Mack, joined by Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. Rob, welcome to Athletic Director Tuesday. Welcome back. It's been a slow-moving news cycle. Nothing's gone on since we last talked to you. Hey, let's just start here, Rob. What a weekend. That had to be fun for a lot of different sports and Duck fans.
No doubt. It was a fantastic weekend in Eugene. It's great to have the students back, isn't it? So, you had move-in Thursday, Friday. There's just so much energy around the campus with the students back, and then action-packed weekend. We started Friday with the Bill Dellinger Invitational over in Springfield. We're able to see our cross-country teams compete at home. Great crowd out there. Yeah. Always great to see Coach Dellinger out there. So a lot of fun, and then that carried over into two amazing events Friday night. This is one of those nights when I wish there were two of me so I could be at both places.
Me too.
We inducted an incredible Hall of Fame class, and what a great event. Phenomenal Becky Sisley Award winner, Leo Harris Award winner, Order of the O Award winner. So phenomenal event. And then over at Matthew Knight Arena, volleyball just continued their success in front of a record crowd and blew out the record crowd. I mean, I think they beat the old record by 1,000.
Yeah, about 1,000, yeah. That's cool. That's a good weekend. And then football. And then football was fun.
Yeah, then we get to Saturday and just had an incredible atmosphere again when you pack in 8,000 students into the student section. And thank you, fans, for getting in there early, for making an impact on the game right from the first kick. I think it was our 6th largest crowd at Autzen. and the energy was just incredible. So that Autzen magic was back.
Yeah, it was. And, so today is actually the first day of classes for the University of Oregon. And so I always feel that day is like, okay, school's really back now.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's like it's not just students are back on campus. It's like, so inside the broadcast a little bit, Scott and I usually have our great interns helping us all the time. Well, we get to this time of year and it's like, oh, actually, I got class. I'll be there when I can, but that's a good thing, right?
That is a good thing.
But that's when it all sort of, at least to me, feels like, okay, we're back in session.
There we go.
Conference season is here. I have multiple follow-ups for you based on what you said. Let's start with football. Just what an atmosphere. That's what it's all about at Autzen Stadium.
It really is, and the students just brought the energy.
Yeah.
And we had some guests that were having their first time experience at Autzen, and they kind of asked, what should we see? And make sure you see the pageantry.
Yeah.
We have a great tailgating scene, and our fans are incredible. And Matt Carney's coming home at the end of the first quarter. Absolutely delighted.
Yeah.
And then shout at the end of the third quarter just gets the place as electric as at any point during the game. So, it was just phenomenal. And to have that kind of performance with over 10 million people watching was a great infomercial for the University of Oregon.
Well, as Coach Lanning even alluded to, we just played his press conference for you last segment. Every Monday, Coach Lanning meets with the media, and he said, hey, look, we know that there are a lot of eyeballs watching because of what Colorado's done, what Deion Sanders has done, but what a great opportunity for the Ducks, and they took advantage of it.
No, it was. I mean, Network TV, 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern, and what Coach Sanders has done at Colorado, just look at the ratings. It's really remarkable. And for us to be at home, to have that opportunity, the first weekend with the students here, a beautiful day, it was a perfect setting.
How big of a deal is it to have those TV viewership numbers? I mean, and to give some context, I was talking about this, Rob, last week. Like, in the last 10, 20 years, Oregon has been by far the most watched team on television in the Pac-12 Conference in the West Coast time zone, really in all of college football in a lot of seasons. How big of a deal is that to hit those numbers?
Well, it's extremely important. Obviously, when you have those eyes, people can connect with your program. It's important for the brand. And there's all sorts of measurements that you can read about. Games above 2 million views or games above 4 million. Our Texas Tech game did 2.5 million viewers. Right. So it's kind of an introduction to Oregon football. But when you're playing at home, it's an introduction to the University of Oregon, to Eugene Springfield, to the state of Oregon. Yeah. And just if you go back and watch the game, those aerial shots where you can see soccer, you can see baseball, you can see football practice, you can see the campus, you can see the river.
Right.
You can see it's just a phenomenal infomercial. Yeah. And to have 10 million people watching, we've talked about it on here. When we can get people to visit, our yield goes way up, not only for athletics, but for the campus. Yeah. And Roger Thompson and his team do a phenomenal job in recruitment of students. But a window into the energy in and around Autzen Stadium, which then carries over into campus and the community, encourages people to take a second look. And as we know, when you take a second look, you learn what this place is about, and it's a really special place.
Yeah, I've said this before. I am case in point. It worked, right? Like, the window into the University of Oregon was athletics, and then I walked through the front door, and, oh, man, look at this place, and now I'm still here. So obviously something worked out for me. I've told Roger that. Like, I'm that example from 10 years ago.
No doubt. And when you think about the importance of, the out-of-state recruitment on the budget, on the culture and community, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging for our campus. That's incredible advertising, particularly when you see 8,000 students having that much fun.
And they were there
Saturday.
Early.
They were there early.
Well done.
They were awesome. It's a great student section. It's as good as any in the country. And when they're in and as energetic as they were on Saturday, that's worth some points.
Yeah, makes a difference. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. So talking now about the season ahead. Road test now, Stanford. And I said this, Rob, like, there's been no team other than Stanford that had spoiled Oregon's fun over the last 15 years or so. So this is going to be a good matchup coming up
100%. In my time here, obviously this has developed into a game that impacts the conference race every year. It has, here in the recent years, it's come in the early part of the conference. But we went down there 2 years ago, and they spoiled it for us.
That's right.
So this is always a difficult game, a really difficult place to play. And, yeah, we got to take care of business.
Now, I did want to look season ahead. You know, there's usually, I feel like, at least a boost in interest, and sometimes you can see that reflected in ticket sales after a game like the one against Colorado. Standing room only on sale for USC and Oregon State. That's it. That's a good sign.
That's a great sign. You know, our fans, you know, season ticket sales, group sales, mini plans, single game have been phenomenal throughout the summer and into the fall. And we knew we had a good home schedule, but it only keeps getting better. You know, we had a ranked Colorado. Now we're looking at a top 5 USC, you know, a top 19 Washington State. You know, Oregon State is ranked, so an incredible opportunity to get to Autzen, and there is limited inventory, which is a good thing.
The one game, I got to say, just transparency-wise here, that hasn't gotten to the standing room only, like you really need to get your ticket now, is the Cal game, and I feel like that's a good matchup in early
It's
November.
a great matchup. You know, they've been extremely competitive. New offensive coordinator, have, you know, gone back to a system that worked for them in the past. So, yeah, that's a tough game. This league is deep this year.
Yeah, very good. No doubt about it. And I know, look, there's some nostalgia, too, with this schedule for sure. It might be the last time that Oregon and Cal match up for a little while. So, hey, we'll see you at Autzen Stadium. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, and as Coach Lane said, I mean, in all of our venues, we want it to be about the University of Oregon. Just like Coach is saying it's Oregon versus Oregon.
That's right.
We want it to be that way in all of our venues. We want our venues packed because our passionate fan base is there to support University of Oregon student athletes. And so, you know, no matter the time, no matter the weather, no matter the opponent, we want this to be about Oregon. So we appreciate all those that do support.
Ducks versus them, as we've been saying. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens with us, talking about atmosphere. The volleyball match that takes place during the welcome week is always a fun one. I felt like it was a different kind of energy at Matthew Knight Arena the other night. Now, you and I were at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Right.
But the record attendance, just shout out to the fans.
No doubt.
That's a program that is a bona fide top 10 competing for a national championship. That's a lot of fun right now.
It is a lot of fun, and you and I were at the Hall of Fame, but I was getting several texts, was able to go back and watch. Just incredible. And you're right, that week of welcome, Roger Thompson again and his team, you know, welcome the freshmen, a number of them, you know, Eric Wiltshire and the band really contributing to that event. To have 7,300, I was at the Hall of Fame, and I got the text that we are opening the upper deck. And I'm like, yes, that's what we want. And, you know, credit to Matt Ulmer and that team, because this is momentum that carried over from last year. Remember, when we were building through last year, we were able to host an NCAA first and second round. Remember, in the sport of volleyball, if you perform well in the regular season, you get an opportunity to start postseason at home. Right. Huge advantage. We were able to do that. And then, you know, we went right down to the Elite Eight and played on someone else's home court and lost in a fifth set. Credit Matt. You know, he built a really difficult schedule. When you look at, you know, they played whatever it was, the first 7 or 8 on the road in tough environments against ranked teams. It was the perfect way to welcome them home. They deserve to have a record crowd. And I hope we can continue that. You know, we got a big weekend this weekend, opportunity to come out and support this team. You know, they're so good, and the sport is so fun to watch. They're great athletes. It's quick. It's easy to understand. And we want to continue that, making Matthew Knight Arena one of the toughest places to play in volleyball.
A quick time out with Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. We've got more coming up. It is Athletic Director Tuesday, part 2 of our chat after this break on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi,
I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. Part 2 of our conversation, Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us, covering a lot of ground with the Oregon AD. Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer coming up in a couple segments here on the show. But I got to tell you, his comments after the match were really, it hit me like the Ducks were the home team. They've played in these hostile environments. You mentioned last year. You mentioned all the ranked matchups earlier this year. And Coach said that he still felt like the team was a little shell-shocked in the first set because suddenly it was the home crowd.
Well, there's just so much energy, and I'm sure the adrenaline was just flowing because, from all accounts, same thing. The energy was in early. People, and our student athletes were excited to be home. Right. They wanted to perform because, they want those fans to come back.
Right. No doubt, and I think a lot of them will. Rob, I don't know if this has gotten to your desk, but I'm happy to report that the season ticket record has been broken. And per our wager on the show, Matt Ulmer will be singing the national anthem on senior night.
Oh, nice.
He's actually a great singer.
Oh, is he really?
He's very good.
I did not know that was out there. So thank you, fans, for breaking the record so that we get a little fun entertainment from Coach Ulmer.
That's right. So I want to tell everybody, in all seriousness, we're not, this isn't a joke. He's actually a really good singer. I'm saying this when he's not in here, by the way. Matt's actually a very good singer, and Coach Ulmer has said, no, I'm rehearsing. I'm getting ready to perform this the way that it deserves. And, yeah, this is awesome. It's just stuff like that, though, Rob. I feel like that's just his personality. That's just how he is. But I think a lot of fans that watch him and I interact, and it's a lot of joking around, but the truth is that's how he is with a serious tone all throughout it. It's really quite the balance.
No doubt. He makes the sport fun. He loves to engage with the crowd. For anybody who was there at our round of 32 match, he was as energetic as I've ever seen him on the sidelines, and he just loved the fact that the crowd was impacting the game. So we have something special going. It's a lot of fun. And hopefully we can get more and more people engaged in it.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. We've touched on it a couple times now, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Always a special night for University of Oregon.
Yeah, an incredible class. When you think the number of All-Americans, national champions, first consensus All-American in football. Special class. National champions in there. Yeah. It was great to get Bruce Mortensen in there. Steeplechase national champion from a couple decades ago. Then you've got English Gardner, Jordan Haase. And then you start to think about people like LaMichael James that not only changed the trajectory of Oregon football, but really changed offensive football and college athletics.
It's true.
Then you look at, Elena Bergsma, National Player of the Year, changed the trajectory of Oregon volleyball. And then Jess Moore, again, I won't say single-handedly because it's a team sport, but willed a team to go on the road in Austin, Texas, to break through, win that super regional, and get back to the College World Series. It sets up for a sequence of events that allows you to recruit people like Sheridan Hawkins, gets people energized so we can build a Jane Sanders Stadium. So Jess Moore laid that foundation, and it was great to see them back. Yeah. I got to say my favorite takeaway, Joey, with the inductees was – sure, they reflected on their career accomplishments in their sport. But to a person, they talked about the community and the people. And now that they're beyond their sport, how it has impacted their life, and they're much more reflective. And so that's so rewarding to hear. Then you get to the special award winners, and you get like Kim Murray, decades of service to serving our student athletes. One of the key figures in launching Women in Flight, what that meant to her, and then 2 doctors.
Right.
Who are, beyond their eligibility and now have an incredible success out in the world. Again, reflecting on their time here and how the University of Oregon and Oregon Athletics set them up for success.
Yeah, Santiago Lorenzo and Ndidi Unaka, who we've been talking about on the show. Now, so I have to tell everybody, during the bye week, this is what we usually try to do. We actually record the conversations that we have up on stage with the inductees.
Oh, nice.
And then I like to play them on the show during the bye week for football. Just because, they say, as you know, Robin, those of us who are in there, they say so many impactful things that it makes me think every year, no, this is why we do this.
Right.
No,
I was
cool.
the same way. I was sitting there just marveled. It's great to see them. Obviously, they had a tremendous impact while they were here. But, they were you expect them to go have success, and they even exceed our expectations.
No doubt. So, and I should tell everybody, too, one of the things that I do in emceeing, and Jerry, I learned this from Jerry, that, the best thing that we can do is just call them ahead of time and say, so what do you want to talk about when we're up there? And it's amazing, Rob, to your point, to a person, you start jogging their minds, and it's not like this one memorable individual accomplishment. That's never what they want to talk about. It's always, well, I had this moment and this moment with my team, or this moment and this moment with somebody that was around the program that made it special. Anyway, that's just, I understand that wins and losses are important. Don't get me wrong, but when you have some really successful individuals like that can tell some heartfelt stories about what it meant, I think we can all identify with that.
100%. And yeah, you're right. They do remember the big wins, but when as they're 10 to 20 years removed from it and they're really reflecting back, it is about the relationships and the opportunities, and it's just so fun to visit with them.
Yeah, that's cool. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. So cross-country season, mentioned that's underway. Mentioned that Oregon soccer is still continuing, and I'll tell you, it's here now. Golfs are on the horizon, competing women's golf today. Men's golf's in action. Men's and women's tennis are back on campus. Nils Schielander's joining the show tomorrow. We're here.
We're here. Softball and baseball are going to be in their fall segment. So, yeah, it's full go. It's great. We're here, we're cranked up, and we're excited.
I did want to ask you specifically about the Oregon women's golf team. They're up to number 2 in the rankings.
They are incredible. Off to a great start, as is men's golf. They've gone on, and both of those teams challenge themselves. So, yeah, it'll be fun to watch throughout the fall and then really gear up for the championship season in the spring.
Now, anytime you're on the show, everybody always is asking me if there are any updates on conference movement because, as you've said, conference realignment moves the needle maybe more than anything. Just anything for fans to know on Big Ten, anything that you want to update them on?
Yeah, probably not anything that we didn't talk about the last time. I don't think much has happened, but obviously we're still spending considerable time in looking at transition items, most notably scheduling. So,
sure.
But nothing to report since the last time we talked.
We also do have, by the way, since the last time that Rob was here, a non-conference schedule for men's basketball.
Yes.
A non-conference schedule for women's basketball. Zeroing in real quick, if we could, on the men's basketball side, Michigan is finally coming back.
December 2nd. Let's fill up Matthew Knight Arena. That's a game we've wanted to get, a series we've wanted to get completed for a long time. Here's our opportunity. So let's pack Matthew Knight Arena. Great matchup.
Well, and let's just paint a picture for everybody for a second, okay? We all plan on being busy the Friday before that game because that's the day of the Pac-12 football championship game. And then we're all back at Matthew Knight Arena on Saturday. Rob, I say that's good scheduling.
I say sometimes you get good fortune. Let's roll with it.
I like that. Anything else that fans should know? What did we miss today?
No, again, I think, kind of what makes this place special is those opportunities to gather together and celebrate. And we saw that Friday night at Matthew Knight Arena. We saw it Saturday at Autzen Stadium. So let's keep that going. Our student athletes love it. It's a huge recruiting advantage. It's a huge home field advantage. And it's just fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. Well, a big one, of course, coming up at Stanford, and then don't look now. It's going to be a bye week, but then a rivalry matchup for football is on the road coming up. It's nothing ever bad happens in Seattle. Nothing,
Hey, every week every week this season's going to be a grind.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, Rob, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens, kind enough to join us for an Athletic Director Tuesday. When we come back, we've got more on football. Also, Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer on his way to the Country Financial Studio here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers, Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4 or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4 or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, loss of who you thought you is.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
We are back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Matt Ulmer is joining us in the Country Financial Studio.
Go Ducks.
He is live with a new record attendance at Matthew Knight Arena. God,
how about
well
that?
Done.
That's pretty neat.
Hey, okay, open floor. Just that had to be pretty darn cool for your program.
Boy, fans, thank you so much. It was like, I think in between second and third set, like shout, is going on, and I don't even think I went in the huddle. I think I was just watching everybody because it was just a really, really cool moment. I just want to take it in. Same for the team. Just want them to take that in.
So in the span of like really a couple months here, right, you saw what Nebraska volleyball did with a record-setting crowd for a women's sporting event. And then you see here locally the Matthew Knight Arena volleyball attendance record get broken. I mean, just how proud are you for your sport right now and how much it's grown and the fan interest has just really, I feel like, taken off.
It's exploding, Yeah, I just think people are taking notice, and it's a great sport, and the level of volleyball it's higher than it's ever been, I think, across the board.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really entertaining, and again, we're starting to get some exposure. TV, more and more games, more games are on ESPN or on Fox, and go down the list. And I think that's our championship's going to be on ABC,
nice.
This year, and I think all those things, it's just getting eyeballs on it, and then people are liking what they're seeing, and it's going from there. And yeah, the fan support though locally has been great, and I just know, our student athletes just really felt that, and I think they were really proud, and it was just a really neat weekend for us.
I heard you mention that it was just important for them to feel the love after being on the road for the first month.
Yeah, that was a really hard stretch. Like, the competition was great, but just it was physically really exhausting. Mentally, I know we were drained. Emotionally, we were drained. The fact that we went 3-0 on the East Coast trip, I thought was just really impressive because we were so tired. And then coming home and having a taste of it, and then turning around and going to UCLA this past weekend, I thought that was really difficult. We've only had one flight of all those flights that has been on time. Everything else has been delayed.
Seriously?
Oh my God, travel. We just haven't hit it right. So
Nelly, shout out.
She's done everything she could do.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Operations for Oregon volleyball.
We thought we were going to get stuck in Vegas here on Sunday, and this past week it didn't happen. They held the plane for us, that was great. Thank you. And thank you to all the people on that Southwest flight. Thank you so much for waiting for us as we were sprinting through the airport.
That's great.
From one side of Vegas to the other to make the plane.
That's great. So I saw the video. Everyone had
of sprinting.
Great sprinting form.
Oh,
it's
wow.
hard
Well,
to sprint
Coach Rad
with
was with us.
Yeah.
So.
Hard thing to do, sprinting while carrying the suitcase on the wheels behind you. And
Yeah.
I'd just say, well done.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember in the Home Alone scene. I feel like nobody had luggage.
I don't think so. They had a lot of kids, though.
A lot of kids, but they were all running. Like, nobody had anything in their hands.
That's true. So
never really thought that's really not real. Maybe the backpacks.
Could be.
Maybe
Well,
it was just
you
the
checked
backpacks.
everything, big family vacation.
I know, but that's not what we look like when we're
Right.
going on a vacation.
You're a lean,
Are you?
mean traveling machine, aren't you?
I know, but don't you have normally some sort of, at least carry something?
No, I'm backpack
I'm
only.
just really second guessing that movie.
I'm a
that
backpack
portion
only,
now.
and then usually the radio gear is checked with a suitcase.
Okay.
Truthfully.
When you're with your family, you bring your radio gear?
Sometimes.
Why do I actually think that's true?
Yeah. Sometimes
We got to talk about that.
Sometimes that's been the case.
Okay.
You know this. Sometimes work travels with you.
Yeah.
We talked to you on Zoom last year because you were at home for the holidays. You had volleyball stuff with you, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, polo or two.
Oh,
yeah.
Scott tells me that there's an important question. This is good. So we need to know, Coach Ulmer, how is your foot after that sprint?
How do you know? That's why I have shoes on.
Wow.
I was wearing my sandals, but I didn't have socks with my sandals. That was the issue. Had I had my socks with my sandals, I would have been fine. But I just had sandals on, and I have a massive blister. It was no joke. It was a 10-minute sprint straight to get from one side to the other.
But you
and we
made
were just
it.
Praying that we would make it.
You made
to
it.
Not get stuck.
You
We made it.
Good job without the
the
blister.
I'm wearing shoes today because of it.
Yeah, you're one of your assistant coaches might have tipped us off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks.
You know why?
My foot's feeling better though. Thanks for the concern.
You know why you weren't wearing the greatest socks that have ever been made, which are the Matt Ulmer face socks.
I've never worn those. I doubt I ever will.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe my deathbed. Someone put them on me. Yeah,
I
that's
think
right. Yeah.
I feel like you are the kind of guy that could pull it off.
That would wear my own socks?
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I've heard. Look, here's what
I feel
I'll
like
say.
that was not a compliment.
Look, here's what I'll say.
I don't know how the room feels.
People are still talking about the Matt Ulmer face socks.
I think it's just you.
No.
Okay. Just
no.
him, right?
People.
Yeah. I don't think anybody else has said
Scott's talking about it.
That's because. Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
This is nice. It's great to have you live in the studio
Thank
again.
you. Yeah.
Live studio audience interaction is great.
I do appreciate
the studio
that. Thank
audience
you.
in the comment section.
Your questions are better than anything he ever gives me. So
That's right.
That's right.
That's
Just
right.
Keep it coming.
Look, I know that.
Keep it coming.
Do you think, in all seriousness, that I feel like a coach has an inherent knowledge and experience for sure. Like, I bet you that an assistant volleyball coach. Maybe any volleyball coach would do a better interview with you just naturally, because this is what I find fascinating for me, just like talking to someone like you, just the amount that we honestly, you and I joke, but the amount that we honestly learn about the sport from the coach's perspective, like it's a wealth of information.
You know the questions to ask though. Like if it was me and an assistant, then it would be a train. We would never get to an actual question. It would just be banter.
Maybe that's what people want.
Which sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what people want.
Maybe that is what they want. Maybe it is.
We're on to something
here.
On
to something.
I did want to ask you, you mentioned, I heard post-match that you thought in the first set the team was maybe even a little bit like shell-shocked. Hit 184 and then hit 300 and hit 379. Like those hitting percentages got better.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I know the home crowd is so important. You've talked with us before about how you wanted to go to these big environments. That's why you had this tough schedule. That's why you want Matthew Knight Arena to be crazy to get your team ready. So was that first set exactly what you expected it and wanted it to be for your team?
I think that's the second biggest crowd we've played in front of, other than playing Louisville to go to the Final Four last year. I think they had like around 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made unforced errors that we don't normally make, and I feel like it was just because we were maybe trying too hard to do things, out of our wheelhouse, just because you want to put on a show, So it's like we're going for swings that we don't normally go for and things like that, and so I think we just gave more points away than normal, but we calmed down. And generally that's the case in a big crowd. Like at Pitt, same thing. We started off that way. There's others like that, and you just kind of let them get their bearings, let them work it out together, and then we get going. And luckily for us, we got it going before the first set ended.
So I know, you practice what you want to have happen throughout the course of the season, and so, does that wear off on a team? Like I'm talking about just the nerves of the big crowd. Like, do you anticipate, and I imagine you do to some extent, that's why you scheduled the way you did, like when you're in these big environments, maybe you don't have those slower starts at the end of the year. Like that sounds overly simplistic.
Well, I actually think on the road, it's a lot easier for the road team in the beginning. I think as time goes on, it can get you. But at least for our group on the road, like we've embraced like the crowd getting on us.
Huh.
And I think that's been a positive for us. But at home, I think it's a different vibe, because again, you just want to be so good. You want to win for the team.
Right.
You want to win for the crowd. So I think it just takes us a little while to settle in, but that's why I think it's so important for us to have those crowds, because again, we want that crowd that was there in December. Supporting us in the playoffs, and this weekend's a big one, and I hope everyone wants to come out for that.
I want to talk about the weekend ahead. It is big. You get the first two home matches are against the two rivals, right? In Oregon State and Washington. That's cool. Yeah. A couple things though from the stat sheet that I did want to ask you about. So you tied the season high in blocks against UCLA, and I know when we talked about this before, you were like, yeah, sometimes the block numbers look good, but maybe when you go look at the film, it wasn't as good as you wanted it to be. What was this one like? Was it as good as you hoped it to be against UCLA?
I actually think Sunday was the best all-around defensive performance of my career here.
Really?
From serving to block to floor defense. That was the most disciplined we've been. Maybe some of that had to do with UCLA, but I thought a lot of it was, we kind of imposed that on them, and we made so many good reads, and coverage was really tight, and servers were aggressive but located well, and we bounced back right when we did. But I thought we made it really difficult for them to score. We held them to a negative hitting percentage, and that's a good offensive team. So to do that at their place, I thought was really impressive. But it was just the consistency in what we were doing I was just really impressed by, and that's something normally that we have lulls. But we were right in the game plan right away. And again, I said to the team in practice today, I hope that they just really enjoyed that, and that's something that they want to just continue on, that they buy in a little bit more, that it can work, and look how good we can be as a group when we are that way on defense. And we talked about last week, or last couple of weeks, that defense was really where I wanted to see some growth, along with our middle connection on the slide. And so I thought we absolutely got that this weekend, and hopefully that's something we can just continue to get better at. Talking
volleyball with head coach Matt Ulmer. Morgan Lewis, a career-high 7 blocks in the contest, too.
Yeah, Morgan's block. I mean, she's making some crazy block moves, and she's just way over the net and very strong and high, and she's a really tough assignment for any outside hitter to go up against.
And the defensive player of the week in the conference,
yeah,
Carson Bacon.
And Kara McGee's right there with her. I mean, it could have been either of them. They were both fantastic. Carson was 2 blocks a set, which that's a huge number in our sport. So happy for her. And then again, like I said, offensively they both did a great job also. So that was a really great weekend, starting opening week for our middles, and again, I hope that that connection only grows. And we still haven't had a match where we've had everybody firing on all cylinders. So if we could put that together, we're going to be really tough, and this would be a good weekend to start that.
6:00 on Friday, the Huskies are in town. Noon on Sunday, the Cougars are in town. The Washington schools. Keys to success this weekend. What are you looking for in front of a big time crowd?
Let's do that. They're 2 of the best serving teams. Definitely that we will see the rest of the year and in the country. So we've been doing a nice job in service, but it's going to really be tested here with the 2 of them. So again, a nice crowd, to get on them while they're serving would be helpful, just to throw them off a little bit.
Hey, FYI, crowd,
just
hear
saying,
that? Yep.
When they're about to serve, go ahead and get a little loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to maybe keep them off a little bit, but we need to handle that well, and we've been doing a good job. But like I said, it'll be tested. So if we can do that, that would help us stay in our offense. And then for us, again, just serve and pass. So for us, can we continue to apply consistent pressure on the people that maybe they don't want the ball to go to, and it just makes them a little bit easier read for our coverage on defense, and sets up our big block, and keep doing what we're doing.
We have a cut coming that you're going to see on social media of a mic'd up with Matt Ulmer at practice, and I just want you to know that we also have the bloopers that don't make the cut, and we'll have them for you here on the show.
I feel like that's probably a better one than.
No, the one that Gabe, our intern Gabe Vicente, he put together a great cut. You're very funny, but you're also very serious coach. It's like the perfect matchup of what you are.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm serious.
I told him I'm like, I feel like I'm not going to give you as much as maybe you think I'm going to give you in practice,
you gave
because
him a lot.
we're going.
You gave him a lot.
Oh, okay.
It was great.
All right. Sorry if I did. I didn't want to disappoint him.
It was good.
Okay.
Yeah. You used the phrase, a pass. You did use that.
That's really
phrase.
good coaching.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Matt Ulmer.
That's it.
That's great. Hey, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
A great start to the year.
Thanks.
See you Friday.
Go Ducks. Let's go.
Yeah, going to be fun.
Thanks. Yeah.
6 o'clock against the Huskies, Matthew Knight Arena. We'll see you all there. He's Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach. When we come back, women's golf surging. Might have another tournament win. Tell you about that when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Derek Radley, he's so good.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, shout out to the Oregon Volleyball support system of Chid, Coach Dillard, letting us know about that foot on that sprint. Thanks, Chid. Thanks for tuning in. And then also, Matt's wife said that, she's got a pair of socks that he can borrow. So great. So great. It does take a village. Thank you, Scott. Senior Ashley Park surged into the individual lead yesterday at the Molly Collegiate Invitational, and the Ducks off to an early start today. And, man, it looks like they might finish with another win. And I don't just mean another win, like a huge win. It's not just like a ho-hum start to the season for the second-ranked Oregon women's golf team. This is looking like they may very well win another tournament into first place. Ducks are out in front. About an hour ago, they were at 9 under. Had about 3 to 4 holes remaining, and then Ashley Park has a 2-stroke lead in the individual race heading down the stretch. Now, we'll have some updates later in the afternoon. We'll tell you how the Ducks fare tomorrow, but Derek Radley's team might have a medalist honor in Ashley Park and a team championship here coming up. Pretty sweet. Tomorrow on the show, Dan Lanning, Nils Schielander. Gonna be fun. See you then.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts